Hey everybody, how's it going? Hope you're having a lovely day. So today I'm going to be going over a video that a lot of you have been asking me to respond to for the past 2 weeks. And I'll be honest with you, I explained this a lot in my community post. I haven't responded to it because the topic itself just fundamentally depresses me. Over the last 15 years of trying to advocate on behalf of both repair shops as well as customers that want to be able to fix their own stuff and not even want to fix their own stuff, just want the manufacturer to take accountability and responsibility when they've released something that they know by their own internal documentation has design flaws that are going to screw over the user and don't do it. The fact that I've made so little progress on this has just made me not want to cover this particular topic. There's I don't know how to discuss it, a fundamental emotional block of just aggravation when I do it. But there's a video that came out recently that is just, in my opinion, one of the biggest pieces of propaganda that I've seen from a tech YouTuber or somebody like that, and this is something that needs to be covered. Now, the reason I've decided to cover this and the reason I've changed my mind on it is because Apple has released a propaganda piece that's about 24 pages that's going over how they are actually a very, very green company that values longevity by design. So I wanted to go through this entire document and demonstrate why every single one of Apple's points that they're making here, besides a couple of them, are complete garbage. And I'm going to have a lot of quotes here. To be clear, just to be upfront with you, I never use a script when I do my videos. All the edits you see in my videos are typically because my cat has run in my room and screwed with me in a way that should not be on camera. And it would take a 7-minute video and turn it into a 1-hour video if I kept all that in. This one I'm going to be reading off of a wireframe that I created for myself, a little bit of a template, because there's so many topics to get into here that I don't want to wind up, missing any particular piece because I missed something. So let's go over this document in full and just go over why that piece from MKBHD's channel, as well as this document from Apple, is a giant piece of just, let's just be real, like complete propaganda. So the main topic here is Apple's claims on longevity and repairability. One of the statements that Apple made in this paper, they state that they aim for a balance between durability and repairability, and they suggest that they design products to last long while considering repair feasibility. So to read from this document over here, the reason is simple. The best repair is the one that's never needed. For example, early generations of the iPhone were susceptible to failure if exposed to liquids like accidental spills, getting caught in the rain, or drops in water. So our design teams iterated until they were able to achieve robust liquid ingress protection, which decreased repair rates by 75% for the iPhone 7 and iPhone 7 Plus. While these changes may require the addition of adhesives, seals, and gaskets that made repairs more complex, the remarkable improvement in product longevity justified a slight increase in repair complexity. So one of the things that they're claiming here is that the iPhone 7 is more durable than the iPhone 6 as a result of what they've learned, that they design products to be more repairable and to have more longevity. However, do they actually learn from their lessons? Is this propaganda or is this real? The iPhone 6 had an issue with flexion. That's when the board bends inside of the phone case because the phone was made like complete garbage. And as a result of that, you wind up with an issue on the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus that came up in a class action lawsuit where the touchscreen would just stop working, where this did not happen on other devices. And Jessa Jones, my good colleague and friend, goes over how to fix that in this video. Now, a court documentation came out that demonstrated that Apple knew that these phones were damaged and breaking at a rate higher than there other was when it came to this particular issue. And they did not fix it until the class action lawsuit came out. Now, every company is going to make a mistake. No big deal, right? However, they're claiming that the iPhone 7 is made to be more durable than the iPhone 6. They had to do these things that made repairability more difficult. However, it made the device more durable. That's fundamentally untrue. If you take a look over here, you'll notice that they have audio IC failures in addition to baseband failures. Baseband failures are failures where the phone won't be able to connect to a cellular network even though it'll connect to Wi-Fi. And a lot of you may have had this issue and noticed that Apple finally covered it under warranty after being threatened to get sued. However, they did not cover under warranty audio IC issues. Audio IC issues are when you get this little icon on your screen when you're trying to make a phone call. You'll notice that speaker is grayed out. You'll notice that recording failed when you try to make a voice memo. And down here, you'll see the problem is that these particular parts become detached from the motherboard. So this means that Apple made the exact same mistake in the iPhone 7 that they made in the iPhone 6. Not only did they make the exact same mistake, but they didn't cover this mistake in the iPhone 7. So if you had an audio IC failure, you didn't get told, oh, let us cover that under an extended warranty because we make one of the most expensive high-end phones in the market. They told you to go fuck yourself, which they didn't mention in Marques Brownlee's propaganda piece shit-ass video that Apple then based that PDF on. Further, let's take apart that claim in that propaganda piece on 2 levels. Not only did they not make the newer device better, it had the exact same failure. Not only did they not cover that failure, but they're lying about the fact that the reason that their devices are not repairable is to make them more durable. There's something they could have done that make this device considerably more difficult to repair that I would agree with because I think that should be done so that it's more durable. What they could have done with these chips that they knew were coming off of the boards because they're designed like shit is they could have used something called underfill under the chip. For those of you who don't really understand how soldering works and how all the stuff is put together, BGA means ball grid array. It's a way of attaching a chip to a motherboard. You used to have chips you could actually see the little legs coming out of them, but for stuff to be miniaturized, you need all the connections to be happening under the chips. You have all these little solder balls, and sometimes those solder balls will break, or when the board flexes, they will wind up moving around. So underfill is something that you put under the chip in order to keep that chip on the board and to keep it from popping off like this. Underfill would have fixed this problem. It would have made my life as a repair person considerably more difficult. However, that is a trade-off that should be made, because that trade-off would mean that your phone didn't have that issue, and you wouldn't have a phone that you have to throw away or pay me $100 to fix, because it would have been designed properly to begin with. I don't need phones to be designed so it looks like what Gordon Gekko had in the movie Wall Street. That's not where I'm going with this. I am more than happy for devices to be more difficult to repair if that means that it's going to be something that lasts longer for the customer. But the problem here is that Apple is lying about their reasoning for this, because if they cared about that, they would do these things that cost 5 extra cents to do that resulted in you getting a more repairable product that I think the entire repair industry would be okay with. While we most certainly curse when we have to deal with a chip that has underfill, we understand that that's part of the job. That's not the kind of thing that drives right to repair. That's not the type of thing that drives legislation, that drove me to make thousands of videos on this channel going over this particular thing. But I think it's really important to actually document their design flaws, because they claim that these products are made for longevity, and I'm going to argue that that's not the case. Not just with the iPhone 7, which is the example that they gave, which anybody worth their salt would have dressed them down for immediately if they weren't a propagandist that cared about keeping a good relationship with the manufacturer. They've done this with just about every device that they've come out with. I'm going to argue that Apple's design choices do not prioritize repairability. They prioritize getting hardware out there at the expense of the end user, who they will never admit when they've done something wrong to. Making design errors is forgivable, but repeatedly failing to correct these errors and not taking accountability and responsibility for them is the type of behavior you expect from a $300 HP laptop or an $80 smartphone. You don't expect that from a product that's premiumly priced. So let's go over all their old failures that were never addressed in that propaganda shit video. This is a video that I did 7 years ago. It's called The Horrible Truth About Apple's Repeated Engineering Failures. And I provide a citation and I demonstrate on camera every single one. I'm not going to repeat every single thing in all these videos, but I will include citations down below, because if I did go through every single one of them in detail, this would be a 5-hour-long video, which I almost think is necessary to respond to this propaganda crap showing up on a 19 million subscriber channel. Let's go through every single one of them. The MacBook Pro, the A1226, A1261, had GPU failures. These GPU failures would result in the device not being able to turn on. And it would also result in, if you were doing video editing or video capture like what I'm doing now, the device would kind of flicker, it would turn off, and it wouldn't work right. Now, if you had that problem and you took it to an Apple store and you said, I want to get this replaced under warranty, actually, in the beginning, they said no. They had to have a class action lawsuit against them because they really care about things being designed for longevity. But once that occurred, once they got sued, do you think that they said, okay, it looks like your device is not working? No, what they did is they came up with a requirement that your device fail a test. So you had to have a test run. This is from a colleague. I'll include a citation down below, a trusted colleague at High Tech Electronics, 47 Canal Street, great shop. The overheating GPU more than likely cooked itself and created a short in your logic board that won't allow it to boot at all. This fact doesn't matter to Apple. If they can't do a diagnostic, then it's not a GPU failure. They'll say it's the logic board, which, by the way, is where the GPU is on that failed and integrated into it. So in their eyes, they are off the hook for the extended service repair. So if you have a device that's not turning on because the GPU died, they will say, we cannot run the test on it to confirm that that's the case, and say that we're not covering you under warranty. So your GPU died. Your GPU dying on that model results in you having a black screen and it not booting. Because it doesn't boot, they cannot run the test. Because they cannot run the test, they can't confirm it's the GPU. Because they can't confirm it's the GPU, you get fucked. You care about longevity? Gargle my fucking balls. Next one on the list. Let's go over every single one of these. It's probably going to turn into a 2-hour video. I don't know how to do this without it being a 2-hour video. MacBook Pro A1226 or A1260 hinge frame problem. Didn't cover any of that in the warranty. You would screw the screen into the frame rather than screwing it into the back plate or anything like that. Again, the hinge would be screwed into the frame rather than the hinge being screwed into the back plate. Again, this is Apple. Why would we actually design things in a manner that makes sense when we could design it in a manner where it's going to fail in a year or two? The unibody. They created a device that was called the unibody. It's actually two pieces glued together, and guess what the glue is? Yes, on the exhaust of the fan, because they care about fucking longevity. That's in the video that I will cite down below. This is what they call the unibody. It is literally two cheap-ass pieces of metal that are glued together, and they are literally located right at the point of the fan exhaust, because that's exactly where I want the part that's glued together in a laptop to be, where the heat is being exhausted out of it, which is going to be a lot of it because they use thin heat sinks, because they want their devices to be sexy, because they care about form over function. We have the power circuit failure for PP1V05, S5 MCP, and the A202610, A202532, and A20 2330 motherboards. This was a failure that also just so happened to carry in not just 2008 and 2009 in the 2010 models. They had GPU failures in the 2011 models. The buck converter for the GPU power rail on the A1398 is not even soldered on properly in these models, as you can see over here. And the way that Apple fixed it under their extended recall program after they finally got sued was to put a fucking piece of rubber under it that smashed onto the board, because that's how little they care about the end consumer, while doing these bullshit propaganda pieces with 19 million subscriber YouTubers claiming that they design things for longevity. You know what I do when I care about longevity? I solder the chip to the fucking board instead of having a recall program that puts a piece of rubber in there that looks like some piece that I tore off of my shoe to prop the board up by the casing. That's disgusting. But you guys care about longevity, right? And again, my favorite, the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus Touch IC issue, where they literally knew that this device was bending inside the case more so than any other phone that they had released by a factor of about 10. Were they covering that under warranty? No, they weren't. Did they fix it in the iPhone 7? No, they didn't. Did they cover you on the iPhone 7 when you had an audio IC issue? No, they didn't. But you care about longevity. Gargle my balls. Next. Let's see. Oh, one of my personal favorites right here. The design flaw where it sends 50 volts over to the GPU. So on these machines, they have a screen connector, and on that screen connector, there are about 43 or 45 pins. Pin 1 on the screen connector is a line for the graphics data. That goes from the CPU's integrated GPU over to the screen. This is a very low voltage line because it's a data line and it's very sensitive. Now, pin 43, which is supposed to be all the way on the other side, pin 43 is a power line. This is going to be carrying anywhere from 35 to 52 volts for powering the screen's backlight. This is not a data line. This is kind of, like a buff power line. So obviously, you'd want pin 43, which is this 52 volt power line, to be further away from pin 1, which is this 1.7 volt data line. Apple engineers care so much about longevity that when they designed this shit, I shit you not, they said that pin 1 is going to be this and pin 43 is going to be this, and then they literally designed it so pin 1 is next to pin 43. And what do you think happens when you do that? You get this. You get 52 volts right next to here. You have humidity in your room that is too high. You are going to send 52 volts to your CPU, which is an overclock that even Steve at Gamers Nexus is not going to recover from. Now, you may think, well, again, they care about longevity, so they fixed it, right? This was present in 2016, 2017, 18, 19, and 20. This was there for 5 fucking years. I haven't even checked. For all I know, this shit is still there today. Do they care if 50 volts goes to the CPU? No. They care so little about longevity, they put pin 1 next to pin 43 when there is a 52 volt line right next to a data line going to the CPU. Did they give 2 shits of a fuck about this? No. Did they cover you under an extended warranty program? No. What they did is what the South Park Cable Company CEO guy does. This. That's how much they care about longevity. And that's how much Marquez roundly cared about doing proper journalism before interviewing somebody that works for that company. Shame on you. Next up, this computer can get killed by dust. You may think, well, listen, every machine's going to get dusted in the fans and overheat. I'm not talking about overheating. No, here's the thing that's special about Apple devices. They always fail in ways that you would never imagine them to fail. Apple is a company that could even fuck up a SATA cable. On the A1278 MacBook, you will find the device is the only device on planet Earth where the SATA cable fails when it's not even moving. But they managed to make a machine that gets killed by dust, not even from overheating, simply by virtue of the dust existing. So Apple decided to put the cable for the screen in some proximity to the fan, which is going to be intaking and exhausting out air. So there's going to be a lot of dust there. Now, if you get dust in this particular spot, a piece of dust will destroy the screen cable to the point where you have lines on your screen. Screen cables dying from being moved back and forth in the hinge? Sure. Screen cables dying from dust? That's Apple longevity. This came out in the news 2 years after I did this video, and once it got to the point where it was so popular that even outlets like Forbes that typically report on other types of news were reporting on this. Your screen will usually look like this when it happens, and at that point you are going to be dealing with a fairly expensive repair. Either A, you're going to replace the whole assembly, or B, you're going to find somebody that's going to fix just the cable, who again, if he has the skill to do that, he's going to be charging you some good money to do that. Let's go on the rest of it. Let's talk about FlexGate. Let's talk about when it's not long enough, because every now and then you have people that'll complain that it's not long enough. Over here we have the flex cable that deals with the backlight to the screen. Now, why do I say you're getting effed in the thumbnail of this video? I'm saying that because you may notice that the cable length is different in the 2018 one that iFixit is showing in their picture on the left than the 2016 and 17 one that they're showing in the picture on the right. This results in the cable ripping as you open and close the device. Now, Apple realized that this was an issue because in 2018, they decided that they were going to change the design of it and they made the cable longer. Now, if they knew it was a mistake, then they realized it was a mistake because they changed the design. Surely they're going to cover that under extended warranty program, right? No. What they did is they only covered one of the 6 models affected. This affects a 2016 A1706, 2016 A1707, 2016 A1708, 2017 A1706, 2017 A1707, and 2017 A1708. My apologies for listing them out of order there. I should have done 13-inch and then 15-inch rather than in order by number. The only one that they covered over here was the 13-inch model from 2016, which is the A1706 and A1708, but they did not cover the A1707 from that year, nor did they cover any of them from 2017, even though the display assemblies from 2017 used the exact same fucking cable as the one from 2016. Further, if you bought a 15-inch model, not only did they not cover you, you paid more money. Apple has a higher profit margin on the machine that they did not cover under warranty than the one that they did. So if you gave Apple more money, if you were loyal to them and said, I want to buy a better device from you, I want you to have a higher profit margin as a result of our sale, they treated you worse. Because it's only at Apple that the more money you give them, the shittier they treat you. It's like dating a dismissive, avoidant person. These design flaws continue into today. If you've ever had an iPhone or you had no friends with iPhones, you may have dealt with problems where it randomly reboots. There are a number of reasons that they randomly reboot, and I document them as well as document how to fix them along with the help of Jesse Cruz, AS Repairs, Unto, and many other people on the Repair Wiki so that you can figure out how to fix them. Just because I stopped listing design flaws at 2020 does not mean that they don't exist after 2020. It simply means that I don't want this video to be 2 hours long, so I'm going to address the rest of it. First, I wanted to address whether they make the devices for longevity, do they care about longevity, and do they care about the customer when they fuck up making a device for longevity. Now we're going to get on to the bullshit they said about repair programs, because there's numerous levels of propaganda that need to be debunked here, and numerous levels of propaganda that Marquez didn't do any research on. Access to repair services, because you might have thought at this point that I have something to say about that. Principle 2, access to repair services. Repairs are inherently disruptive, but if repair is needed, we seek new ways to offer convenient access to safe, reliable, and secure repairs, whether by Apple, a third-party repair shop, or the customer directly, to help solve the issue as quickly as possible. That's why we've doubled the size of our industry-leading repair service network in the last 5 years by adding more professional service providers. It's also why Apple launched their self-service repair program in 2022, providing customers access to genuine Apple parts, tools, and repair manuals. And that's why we continue to expand access to more products and regions. In fact, 85% of the U.S. population is within a 30-minute drive of an Apple Store, Apple-authorized service provider, or an independent repair provider location. I'm not going to spend too much time on the authorized service providers because most people who watch this channel already know that those options are garbage. Let's just show you one example of that. In this video, if you fast forward it to 1 minute and 50 seconds, you will hear somebody from an Apple authorized repair shop telling a customer 2 pieces of information. One is bad and one is just frankly false. The first piece of misinformation that they give them is that the headphone jack on an iPhone 6 is hard soldered to the motherboard. It is not. It is a flex cable that Jess's toddler children have replaced with a screwdriver. It takes 5 minutes to replace this thing. Secondly, they said that he would have to replace his entire phone. It's going to take 1 to 2 weeks. He's going to lose all his data. It's going to be $350. Do you want to use an authorized service provider? These people know less than my receptionist on how to fix Apple products. Let's get into the independent repair provider program, the virtue signaling garbage that Apple has put out there so that they could write a document like this that they could show legislatures to try to squash the idea of all this. Forget about this consumer protection legislation. We got this. We're making repair available already. These programs are mostly useless. Firstly, you have to sign an NDA. Those who have signed and broken this NDA that I am going to respect the confidence of in this video have made very clear everything that I'm saying is true. They cannot get access to screens. They cannot access to chips. They cannot repair anything. They're still locked out of the entire supply chain that is necessary to be able to get parts that they actually need. They get access to what is called an assembly. An assembly is like saying that you have a flat tire, so you need to replace your wheels, your hubcaps, your axle, and everything on your suspension because you have a flat tire. We do not want access to an assembly. I do not want to buy a $700 part to fix a device that has a resale value of $600. I want to be able to buy the part that is between $1 and $30 that is actually necessary, and I'm willing to pay a markup of 100 to 200% on that part because, again, there's some money to be made there. I'm not saying the manufacturer can't make money. These programs are virtually useless. There is you cannot get access to you cannot get access to a headphone jack flex cable under this program. You cannot do repairs under these particular programs. They don't allow you to buy chips from chip vendors for $10. They give you an entire motherboard for $1,000. They don't allow you to buy a $38 LCD. They sell you a $350 to $750 assembly. Screens. We used to be able to buy screens for these devices, and they would be good screens. The first video that I ever did on this channel was explaining the difference between grade A+ and grade A- screens. I took pride in the fact that I got top-tier top quality screens from the manufacturer directly, whether it was AU Optronics, LG, Samsung, Chime. We had screens in my store that fit over 5,000 different brands of laptop, and we were able to do those repairs same day, 20 minutes. You'd be in and out. Now, we can't get access to those anymore because Apple closed up the supply chain. We have to go and buy either used displays, which are very expensive, look like crap, and require all sorts of other nonsense to be able to work properly that we don't get access to, or we get to join Apple's IRP program, which means I cannot do repairs like I used to, and I get access to assemblies. I cannot buy the screen for $38 to $150. I have to buy the hinges, the webcam, the backlight layers, the aluminum on the back, because I know Dave Jones watches this channel every now and then. Respect to Dave Jones. I have to buy the aluminum on the back. I have to buy the Wi-Fi antenna and all this other crap that I don't need. You know what that means? Instead of replacing a part that's $38 to $150, I now have to replace a part that's $350 to $800. And you know what happens when that's the customer experience? A 1-star review, because I can't get access to that stuff. I have to go through the used market and freaking dumpster dive to find the screen, whose availability changes at any given time. I edited my website last year to essentially say, no, in a little bit more professional terms, we suck. Don't use us for screen repair. We suck. I have to say that, because if I don't say that, I'm going to give customers experience like this. Above all, these programs allow Apple to audit your facility to see if you have the aforementioned items that are necessary to do repairs at our business. So if I buy the chips that I need from, as I like to say, the Nicolas Cage Lord of War supply chain, they could see that I have a CD3217 in my store. They could see that I have an ISL 9240 in my store. They could see that I have an LP133WP1 TJA or an LP154WT1 in my store and tell me, you're out of this program and we're going to get you in trouble because you went against our agreement. How dare you have access to parts that you did not buy from us? Well, actually, I did do the repairs your customers want you to do. You know, the ones where you don't have to spend $900 to fix a $600 computer. And I've shown you several of these over the course of here. This is the video that I did going over the IRP program being a scam. This is the video that I did, we're going to get to this later, where they talk about privacy and security, where I'm apparently required, if I join the IRP program, to take all of your information, your address, your phone number, your name, your device, your serial number, and make it available to Apple. You know where you don't have to make your personal information available to the people repairing your device? Independent repair. You could walk into my store and say, my name is John Smith with a phone number of 111-111-111, and we'll fix your stuff anyway. We don't need that information. We keep it for warranty, but we don't need it. It's because we actually care about your privacy, unlike the company that Verge signal at it. I go over here the fact that chips are not made available to independent repair shops, to the user, and people who join Apple authorized programs, whether you're an Apple authorized service provider or you're part of the independent repair provider program. You cannot get them. If you ask over here, this person is asking Renaissance Electronics, aka Intersil, who makes the ISL 9240 charging chip, as well as the ISL 628, 629, ISL 9239 that have been used for charging chips, but also buck converters for the GPU and everything like that, and CPU, vCore, and many of these devices. If you ask them to buy this chip, they will tell you, no, thank you for messaging Renaissance. Would you tell me which country you're in so we can try to get you the chip? He says which country he's in, and then he gets rejected. This post is no longer available. Renaissance Electronics has removed this post from Facebook. I can't find it anywhere. Nobody else can find it anywhere. I featured it in a video a long time ago that got hundreds of thousands of views, and it is gone. If you take a look over here, you will see this is a response that somebody received from Renaissance. This is a different one. I found out that the ISL 9240 is a custom part for a specific customer. We are not allowed to sell it to others. You will need to find another part. We have quite a few other battery charger management parts to choose from depending on your application. So what this means is that, again, this is one of those things where when we talk about repairability and we talk about balancing repairability and longevity, or we talk about balancing repairability and the price of the product, the arguments that they're making, which I already proved false with the iPhone 7 and 6, which they did not want to spend the extra 2 cents to put fucking underfill in, they tend to deal with the design of the product. This is dealing with the process of corporate decision-making, which has nothing to do with the durability or the longevity of the product. Apple has to make a conscious choice to tell Renaissance, if somebody asks for a charging chip to the device, to not make that available. Right now, my laptop is plugged in and it is charging because it is a Lenovo, which have battery lives of about 20 minutes, especially if you have one of the P-series ones and you run Linux on it. This machine is charging. If it stops charging, very often it's the buck converter that takes the 20 volts from the charger and converts it into a 12 or 13 volt power off for the rest of the machine. That tends to die. When that dies, this is a chip that costs anywhere from $1 to $20. They could sell this for $20 and have like a 50,000% profit margin on this device, and they don't. And now I understand Apple not wanting to stock it themselves. They don't want to be in business with that. But why do you have to go over to an electronics distributor and tell them, don't make the charging chip for our product available? Because they want us to buy an entirely new board, which is what you have to do if you are part of the Apple Independent Repair Provider Network. Right now, Apple cannot walk into my store and take legal action against me because I have this chip in there. If I signed up for these IRP programs, they could take legal action against me. And the people who have signed up to these programs are not able to speak out about them publicly because they have an NDA on them, which I've been trying to convince people to, break away from. It's like, as I've said, listen, one of you guys has to speak up and show this and take the first step and be open to getting legal action taken against you if you want things to change. But again, most people who sign these things, they're willing to talk in confidence, but they're not willing to talk to the press. I understand that. That's why you don't hear about this program being as restrictive as it is. If Apple made a program that was actually meant to be a repair program, why would they have to make the repair shops that sign up for it sign an NDA that means they could have their life ruined by a $3 trillion company taking part in lawfare against them if it was a good repair program? The answer is that it's not a good repair program. The repair program is so bad that they have to tie you up. They have to handcuff you legally in a way that's not fun, because some ways of getting handcuffed are fun, and just to keep you from being able to talk to the press about how bad of a repair program it is. Let's talk about repair documentation, because they claim that we're going to get access to repair documentation in this piece of shit propaganda piece over here. They actually show you this over here. They say coverage, diagnostics, repair documentation. And they say that everybody can, including Apple authorized service providers and independent repair providers. So are they lying? Are they not making it available? No, that they're making repair documentation available. They are. Here's how you take the bottom cover off of the computer. Here's how you take the 2 screws out of the side of the iPhone. I know how to take the fucking 8 screws off of the bottom of the computer, thank you very much. You don't have to tell me that I'm not that stupid in spite of some of the shit you've seen me do on camera. I know how to do this. What I want is a schematic. I want a board view. Next up, Apple certified training. You think I want training from people that think that the iPhone 6 has a headphone jack that's hard-sided to the motherboard? These people have literally never even opened the phone to see how it's put together. You can tell that an Apple authorized repair service is essentially at this point a mailing depot. They take your device, they mail it back to Apple, they will get a refurbished one back, and they will charge you half the device for a new one. That is what Apple authorized repair usually is. I don't want your certified training. I don't care about your certified training. You don't train us to actually do anything. Your training teaches your employees how to misinform and mislead customers, and that's not what we do at Rossman Repair Group. Next up, my favorite one, privacy and security. That's why, during the repair process, Apple and authorized service providers only use genuine Apple parts, which have been rigorously engineered and tested to meet our standards. We do not use third-party parts because you cannot guarantee their safety, privacy, and security protections, or their quality and performance. My response here, I am not going to criticize Apple for using Apple parts in their repairs. Why wouldn't they use originals when they're the company that made them? You're allowed to use Apple parts in your repairs, and I've never in a million years criticized Apple for using Apple parts in their repairs. I'm criticizing you for restricting manufacturers of these chips, screens, and parts from selling them to us. Further, when it comes to security and privacy, how do I put this? There is no documented case of an aftermarket part leading to a customer's sex tape being posted to her own Facebook account by a technician. You know where that happened? Apple, using OEM parts. You see, the issue of customers being spied on, the issue of privacy, security, safety, this does not occur with aftermarket parts. This does not occur because you got the wrong fingerprint sensor put on your iPhone. This did not occur because I replaced a fuse on your motherboard, a charging chip on your MacBook. This occurs when you send a device to Apple. Everything they are accusing us of is something that they are doing. Knockoff ports do not cause customer data breaches. Perverted, sick-in-the-head repair people do, and those sick-in-the-head repair people are contractors for Apple, not us. I actually screen my employees because I give a shit about my reputation. I cannot say that a contractor of a contractor of a contractor of a contractor messed something up and then, my $3 trillion market cap goes to 2.99999. My business matters to me. My reputation matters to me. If that happens to me even once, I am out of business for the rest of my life. My personal reputation is tarnished. I don't get to say it was some random other department's problem. It becomes my problem. I will never be able to get a job again if that happens. I will never be able to run a business again if that happens. Jessa Jones won't. Tim Herman won't. Mark Schaefer won't. Jesse Cruz won't. We care about our reputation, which is why we do not take part in this behavior. You know who does? The manufacturer. And you know how much parts has to do with it? Nothing. Nothing. We also have a very interesting article from the Washington Post about an Apple Store employee helping a customer by texting himself an intimate photo from her phone. OEM parts, man. OEM parts. Yeah, if we're talking about privacy and security, I'm just going to continue going back to this independent repair program that I have where I'm required to take your information and make that information available to Apple upon request. I was reading over some of these agreements, and they literally, again, you cannot not give them your data. If you go to an IRP, you have to give them your personal information. You have to give them your phone number. You have to give them your address. In this video, I went over Samsung's repair practices where they're trying to copy Apple now, and not only requiring that their independent repair providers that go through their programs take all the customer data, but if the customer has a part in the device that is not made by Samsung, they want that customer ratted on, meaning you have to report to Samsung the name of the device, you have to interrogate the customer to figure out where that part came from, and then you don't give the customer back the device. Worse than Apple, but in that same vein. Because Apple's gotten away with it, others get away with it as well. Every time the manufacturer talks about danger when it comes to independent repair with your safety, your security, your data, they're actually talking about themselves. Because time and time again, the objective evidence demonstrates that your sex tapes are most likely going to be uploaded to Facebook when you send your phone to the manufacturer, not to us. Not only did they upload her sex tape, they couldn't just put it on Pornhub and call it a day and say, LOL, you got hacked. They signed into her freaking Facebook account and uploaded her own sex tape as her, which creates the implication that it was actually her intention the entire time to share her sex tape with everybody. And you have the balls to talk about security, safety, and privacy when demonstrating what makes you different. Fuck you, and fuck the people who propagandize your bullshit without questioning any of it. The security of Apple's device is designed so that no one at Apple or anywhere else can gain access to a customer-sensitive data. This extends to our repair process as well. Starting in 2018, Apple introduced a secure diagnostic and repair mode to allow a technician to diagnose and repair issues with the customer's device without requiring the customer to disclose their passcode. Replacing security components such as the Face ID or Touch ID sensor in a device should never allow someone to bypass the protection of the customer's passcode or biometrics before, during, or after a repair. Again, here we're dealing with a straw man argument. They're doing the politician shit. They're responding to something that's not what we said. We're not saying that you should not make a secure device. We're not saying that you should not create your device in a manner where the manufacturer or the independent repair shop cannot get access to their data. Just me, but I think if you can trust rapists with these tools, you can trust us as well. The bar seems pretty low there, Apple. We are not advocating for less secure devices. We're asking that if the guy at the Apple store who can access your sex tapes, who can access your photos, who texts himself your photos, can get access to that tool that allows you to pair something to the device, we should have access to it too. When it comes to calibration, none of us are mad that calibration exists. We are mad that there is not a transparent and sensible process for repair shops to be able to get access to these tools. If calibration of these parts is simple enough for a Genius Bar employee or a rapist contractor to do it, it should be simple enough for all of us to do it, even an idiot like me. Spotlight on reliability testing. We are committed to building the best products for our customers. Our engineering teams look for every opportunity to achieve high levels of durability for every material used, parts selected, and product assembled. To do this, we have a rigorous reliability testing process that goes hand in hand with the development of our products and repair processes. Reliability testing is not a step that comes at the end, it's intrinsically part of the entire product development lifecycle. Not only do insights from early testing help inform component design improvements, but we begin exploring potential sources of failure even before the first prototype is built. This tight integration allows us to identify any issues early on and make changes to materials, parts, or product design accordingly. Okay, so your product teams are so integrated that the person who says that pin 1 and 43 need to be as far away from each other as possible doesn't ever talk to the dude that actually lays out the PCB. You realize that when the guy that designs the PCB puts the low voltage data signal on the opposite side, pin 1, pin 43, 45 pin connector, that he's intending for that to be separate from the 52 volt backlight line. You call that intrinsically building this into the design? You left that design flaw in there, as I said, 4 fucking years. And you have the balls to say that you intrinsically design these products for longevity. This has been reported to you over and over and over again. I know if that shows up at my shop every day, you have to be getting them by the truckload, by the pallet load, by the boatload every day. Do you change the design? No, you don't, because that would cost you an extra few fucking cents that would result in you having a market cap that's a teeny tiny bit lower. And you can't have that because you will have less money to fund your influencer marketing campaign so people with 19 million subscribers can propagandize the world into thinking that this document is not a steaming pile of bullshit. Spotlight on reliability testing. Your own internal documents demonstrated that the iPhone 6 Plus failed at a higher rate than every other iPhone by a factor of 10. Did that inform your design at all? No. Did you cover that under extended warranty program? No. Did you decide to make the next device in a different manner? No. And did you ever cover a single fucking customer that had an audio IC failure with the iPhone 7 under an extended warranty program? No, you didn't. You intrinsically design your products to save you as much money as humanly possible, and your design and engineering teams don't fucking talk to each other at all. The guy that lays out the PCB never talks out to the person that designed it to ask why this is done that way. The person that made the iPhone 7 sure as fuck didn't talk to the dude that did the iPhone 6 or 6 Plus, because if he did, maybe he would have decided with the audio IC, maybe we should put a little bit of underfill under there. It looks like it's in a similar region of the board. It may wind up bending the same way and ending up with hundreds of thousands of people not having audio on their fucking phone after a few years. No, you don't do that because you don't care. You don't have the money to spend on the engineering, but you sure should have the money for the influencer marketing budget so that you could pretend that you do. Above all, what does this matter if this doesn't benefit you? You know where they're learning? They're not learning in the design process. They're learning after it fails on you and you pay for a new one. When you have a FlexGate issue with a 2017 MacBook Pro, and that 2017 MacBook Pro is designed identically to the 2016 MacBook Pro that they cover under an extended warranty program, you don't get covered because they were experimenting on you. That device is improperly designed because they decided to use a design that's different from every other hardware manufacturer that uses time-tested, proven, trusted designs. Apple has to do things differently than everybody else. As a result of doing things differently from everybody else, they're experimenting, but they're not experimenting during the design phase. They're experimenting on you after you pay $3,000 for the device. What does it matter if they figure out what's wrong with it and they change the design, if they change the design on the 2018 version but leave you fucked over with the 2017 version? Who cares at that point? You just gave them $3,000 and they did this to you anyway. Did anybody in your QA/QC department do this? This is what you would have had to do to see that that cable is too short. But you didn't do that, did you? 52 volts to the CPU. Have you ever used that device in a human environment? You ever leave California? You ever leave your little bubble? Maybe you go to some other part of the world where they have 95%, 98% humidity all year round? Because if you did, I guarantee you'd see a lot of 52 volts going to the CPU, and you might have fired the fucking PCB layout person that decided that was a good design. No, you didn't. In conclusion, this is complete propaganda. I could go on about 2021 design flaws, 2022 design flaws, 2023 design flaws, 2024 design flaws. This video will wind up being 6 hours long, and I will have to take blood pressure medication to be able to relax at the end of it. How should I end the video? I hate this word, not because of what it's supposed to mean, but what it means now. I don't like the word influencer, because the word influencer has come to mean somebody that a marketing manager or a marketing intern believes is capable of manipulating large swaths of people into believing something that isn't true, into believing that a product is good when it is not, and getting people to sign up for products and services that they don't need that won't best serve them. But everybody on this platform is an influencer. We are trying to influence you. When I do a video that demonstrates that LG's televisions are spying on you by default, and I show you the settings, I'm doing that because I want you to understand how you're being screwed, not just to be mad and angry at it, but because I actually want you to know that you shouldn't buy this product. I want you to know that you should turn that off. I want you to know to not connect that to the internet. I want to influence you to not connect that to the internet so that your private data is safe. Something tells me LG is not going to call me up and ask if I'm going to take a sponsorship in a video for the LG Gram. I realize that other companies are going to look at this channel after I talk about these issues and realize that I am not brand safe. I am not a YouTuber that they can feel safe giving money to say good things about their products, because even if I do it then, I probably won't into the future, and I'm not going to mince words about it. I'm not going to say it in an advertiser-friendly, brand-safe way. But that doesn't matter. I'm here in service to you. I'm not here in service to a company. I'm not here in service to a brand image. I'm here in service to my viewers, and that is what the word influencer was supposed to mean. When I show you how to do these repairs, when I write 100 guides for Repair.wiki or fund other people to do it, I'm trying to influence other repair shops. Instead of saying, I can't fix this, this is a board issue, I'm not able to do that, I'm not qualified, I don't know how, I am trying to influence you to perform repairs that you otherwise wouldn't do. I'm trying to influence people to care about these things. Influencers have responsibilities to their audience. And nowadays, influencer doesn't mean what I'm talking about. It doesn't mean demonstrating to your audience how to fix things that they otherwise couldn't fix in an honest, practical, economically reliable way, economically viable way, and reliable way. It doesn't mean telling your audience when they're getting screwed. It doesn't mean telling your audience when you're reading something that's a pile of bullshit, if it means that you're less likely to get a next-generation device for free, or less likely to be on good terms with a C-level executive at a company that you may be able to do an interview to that essentially does this to the entire repair community. Being an influencer is about caring for your audience. It's about, even if you get things wrong, having the best of intentions. And I do believe on this platform, we all are influencers. It comes with the responsibility of doing real research if you're going to be in the room with a C-level executive of a $2 to $3 trillion company, rather than just taking their balls and gargling them down your throat for the purposes of a fluff PR piece. We have a responsibility to our audience. We have a responsibility to let them know when they are being gaslit. I am not speaking simply from my own repair shop. This is not just selfish. If you look back through these over 1,000 videos I've done on my channel, I am suggesting that these things be covered under a recall program. Recall program means that I don't get paid. Recall program means Apple provides a free repair, which, again, hard to compete with free. My employees do like their paychecks, and they do like their food. I am advocating for you, the user, to understand when you are being gaslit so that it can be rectified. If you are told that these products with all of these design flaws are actually designed with longevity in mind, and it must be how you held it. It's how you looked at it. You used, you used DaVinci Resolve instead of Premiere, so that's why your GPU died. You're gaslighting the people. You're gaslighting your audience into believing the bullshit that Apple executive told you. That's not doing a service to your audience. That's doing a service to the C-level executive. That's doing a service to your sponsors to let them know that you are a brand-safe content creator. I don't care if you do a video every now and then that's critical of a manufacturer. For the most part, most influencers in this platform let the marketing departments of these companies know that they're brand safe. And they put them before their audience. I don't think that we should be doing that. None of us should be doing that. And the day that I start doing that, call me out on it as often as humanly possible and unsubscribe. This moment that I don't have your interest in mind, the moment that I have the interest of a marketing manager, the moment I have the interest of a sponsor or somebody who's paying me in mind over your best interests, you should stop watching and tell your friends to stop watching too. Do not listen to people who gaslight you, and do not allow yourself to be gaslit, whether by an influencer or a $3 trillion company. That's it for today. And as always, I hope you learned something. I'll see you in the next video. Bye now.